or $600,000 or $700,000 house, which is a very common price point range in Utah, $500,000 to $700,000 is practically every house in Utah. That's $50,000 to $60,000 or $70,000 you can't access in your equity. It's locked up. Welcome to Loans Elevated, the podcast that brings you the latest industry news, expert interviews, and insightful discussions that will help you stay ahead in this dynamic market. I'm your host, Broch Lassig, and I've spent years in the trenches of the mortgage industry, helping individuals and businesses navigate the complex landscape of real estate financing.
I'm your co-host, TJ Heidenreich, and together we'll cover a wide range of topics, from business strategies that skyrocket your success to mindset and motivation that fuel your growth.
All right, so today we're talking about a situation that is becoming more and more prevalent, and we have mentioned many times in the podcast in different episodes about pressures mounting for the American family, or the Utah family in our case, because that's most of the people that we help. And what we're finding is we got a bunch of people that own homes, have significant equity, low rates, but the financial stressors are mounting. Credit card debts, auto loans, some of them are getting their hours scaled back, or income is not as significant, and they reach out to us for a refi because they want to obviously maintain the ownership of their home.
Right.
They want to maintain their low rate, but they can't afford to live
equity,
anymore, which is crazy. And unfortunately for a lot of these people, a refinance is not a feasible solution because one issue is the refinance is capped at 80% for most programs. 80% of whatever the value of the home is that's as much cash as you can tap into. Many of these people need to tap into more. So what we want to talk about is a strategy.
Well, and if credit has gone down too, or incomes have gone down, maybe they can't even qualify.
Right. They may not be able to qualify, but also when you hike up a cash out refi to 80%, you're getting crushed on loan level price adjustments. Yeah. So the rates are even higher. And it's really difficult to make it pencil because they have even if they're trying to consolidate debts into the mortgage equity, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a HELOC is a solution, sometimes it's not, because the savings just aren't there, because there's limitations to HELOC as well. Like most HELOCs are capped at about 90% of the value. Well, that 10% on a, even $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000 house, which is a very common price point range in Utah, $500,000 to $700,000 is practically every house in Utah. That's $50,000 to $60,000 or $70,000 you can't access in your equity. It's locked up, which makes it challenging to save money.
Which could be the amount that you need to fully pay everything off.
Right.
And in those situations, you probably need to pay everything off. Otherwise, it doesn't even save you money.
Well, that's a challenge because the payment goes up. I mean, oftentimes these people's rates are doubling. So the rate goes double on the mortgage amount. And even though you're consolidating higher interest stuff and higher payment stuff, when the rate doubles and you can't get all of your debt consolidated, if they could get all of it consolidated, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You save, most of the clients I look at, if we could find a way to get all of it consolidated, you save $1,000 a month. Yeah. It's huge, even with the high rate. But then also with the high rate, you've got tax benefits that you can tack onto there, income tax savings because the interest rates are higher. So there starts to be these silver linings. But the trick is I would say, what would you say? Maybe half or 60% of the clients are kind of fit it. 40% of them, the refi makes sense.
Yeah.
50 to 60% of them.
The majority.
Yeah. It's just not like you can't make it pencil because you can't access enough equity. So the idea we thought about, and what we wanted to share today is there's lots of people facing this issue where have a low rate, I own my home, I'm in a good place, but I have these other debts that have started to accumulate, or I'm less certain about my job, and I need some financial relief. It's not easy to find. So the solution is sell your home, and this becomes even more of a viable solution if you've lived in your home for 2 of the most recent 5 years, and you can capitalize on the tax exemption for a primary residence, because then you net that equity tax-free. But the beauty is you're getting all the equity out, not just 80%. You're getting it all out. So now you can essentially just push the reset button and you can pay off your existing mortgage, which sucks because it's a low rate, but you get rid of all the other debts. You can oftentimes pocket cash, create a safety fund. Even like one of our clients funded college for her daughter, stack some cash on the side, and then have an amount of money available for a down payment to buy a new one.
Yeah, it's like a fresh reset.
Exactly. You push the reset button, and even if it's a lateral move, I mean, it is inconvenient.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to move your family, but
it's also inconvenient to go delinquent on bills and tear up your credit.
And live in the stress of financial pressure, which is, that's the source of...
That's a leading cause of a lot of things. Divorce,
like mental health issues, actual physical health issues.
Well, my compounded you not, taking care of your body because you're just like, F it.
And then, like, how does that relate to your extended family, your kids, your grandkids, whatever? Like, it's just such a bad thing. It's and most people have experienced significant financial pressure in their life. I know I have.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the only thing you can think about. You go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. It's like, there is a way to push the reset button and make it work. And the cool thing about right now is most people bought and have accumulated such a big amount of equity that selling right now is not that big, even though it's more of a buyer's market probably than a seller's market.
Yeah.
Selling right now, you've already capitalized. You've made a ton of money. But now you get to go in and be a buyer and negotiate heavy and get temporary rate buy downs, negotiate a discount on the price of the home, whatever, right? So you can go in at a good buying opportunity too.
Well, maybe it's a lateral move, but maybe the layout is actually a little bit more accommodating to your family today than it was when you bought the other house. Like, there's still, I think, room to actually win on the actual type of house you're buying too.
Yeah, or maybe you want to move, you're like, crap, I don't like this. I'd like to be closer to that park in this other neighborhood.
Or location or something like that, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, layout of the house, whatever. There's a lot of things, but
it doesn't mean it's defeat or failure that you have to sell your house and do this.
Yeah. And most people are just like, it's not even a consideration to do this. And it is such a viable exit route and reset button to avoid. And honestly, even if you're not at the point where it's like, okay, I need the emergency button, even if you're proactively thinking, okay, things are starting to get a little challenging. We have accumulated some credit card debt. It's like, unfortunately, rates aren't coming down anytime soon, at least the way it looks right now. Yeah. That means those credit card rates stay high. That means that if the car breaks down and you got to get a new one, that car payment goes up tremendously because rates are really high. And like, there's all these potential issues that could present themselves. So it's like, it might be a time to just get proactive. Like you said, push the reset button and just put you and your family at more peace and still own a home and still have an opportunity to create long-term wealth. Because we're all about that, obviously. We want you to be a homeowner.
Yeah. Well, and could you imagine if you are a renter, though? Like, a lot of people in these situations, they feel like they're, I guess, failing if they have to get to this point. Like, they failed financially. But the thing is, you didn't. You actually gave yourself the backup that, all renters do not have. If you're a renter and you're completely tapped out on credit card debt, auto loans have gotten too expensive, if bills have just piled up and gotten too difficult to handle, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Your only option is bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. This is like, it's funny you say that. It's like the ugly side of the benefits of owning, because the value is you have an asset and it's awesome. And speaking about renters, if you know people who are renting, flipping the coin a little bit here, like, this is the value of homeownership. I know, maybe you don't save money by buying a home versus renting, or maybe you spend a little bit extra per month buying a home versus renting, whatever. But when you look at the monthly cost, you can't stop there and say, nah, homeownership sucks, because even last year in Utah, home prices went up a little over 5%. So $600,000 house, you made 20, 30 grand in equity. Well, let that ride for 2 or 3 or 4 years and compound on itself. You've got, 100 grand in equity, that if difficult times arise, you have that asset that you can liquidate and push that reset button. It keeps you in a much more resilient financial position.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of your finances.
Right. 100%.
You
You could leverage, you could sell it, you could, or you turn it into a rental.
Yeah. Or it's your retirement, one of your significant retirement legs that you're relying on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just so many benefits to homeownership that renters do not have. And like you said, to your point, even if you're comparing apples to apples and it seems like renting is a cheaper cost, you're eliminating options financially down the road.
Yeah.
By choosing
you
to
can't
rent.
be
You
short-sighted.
really are.
And that's the big thing that I think we do so well. We talk often about our holistic mortgage planning approach. And I think what we do well is we are just absolute number and finance nerds who study, like, what can you do? And what we study is, like, what the regular average American can do, not what, some multimillionaire can
Jeff
do.
Bezos.
Yeah, not like we study this stuff that it's like, man, how do we win in such a difficult to win game, which is the world of finance and winning the American dream. And like, these are strategies that we obsess over and we can share with you. And kind of like, I would just say, because it's been our expertise and our passion for so long, our peripheral vision is probably wider than most when it comes to this topic. So we can just help you strategize or think through the ideas or strategies to create solutions that you may not think of on your own, or other people that you know may not think of. I think we can help in a big way that way.
For sure.
So cool. Well, that's what we wanted to share. Do you have any closing comments?
No. I mean, don't feel ashamed if you're in a spot and you need to start leveraging the tools that you have. Reach out. We'd be happy to do a free consultation, take a look at your options and provide them. I'm sure we can find something if you have equity in a house.
Certainly. Yep. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, and please reach out to us. If you need us, you can find any information to contact us, follow us on social, subscribe to newsletters, so on and so forth at lassigteam.com. You can even apply for a new loan there, apply for a HELOC there, or schedule a consultation like Ryan said. So it's a great resource, lassigteam.com, and we'd love to help.
Thank you for tuning in. For more industry insights, follow us on all platforms at Loans Elevated.
And to get in touch with our team, call or text 801-713-4000 or visit loanselevated.com.